Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Tom Nelson, and this is part 4 of the 5-part series on resolving cholesterol issues naturally. There are a number of ways that you can actually increase your cholesterol level, and you likely don't know that you are actually even doing it. And of course, there are things that you probably are not doing that can also contribute as a cause. So all of them we're going to cover in this video lesson. You can fix a problem if you know how to fix it, if you know what the actual cause is and what the problem actually is. So let's look at each of these different issues one by one. First of all, too little fiber in your diet will increase your LDL cholesterol. So let's see how that happens. We'll focus primarily on two primary lipoproteins, the LDL and the HDL. So again, cholesterol is basically a sterol. It's a fat, and it's produced mostly in your liver, which again is centrally located. So the lipoproteins can be stuffed full of cholesterol, the fat that's needed to make the repairs on all of your body's membranes. And then it's placed into the bloodstream, and because the outside of that lipoprotein is water soluble, it can be transported to virtually every part of your body without separating out, without pooling or collecting anywhere. So the easiest way to describe what happens in this process, let's just assume that the LDL cholesterol lipoprotein is a delivery truck or a good humor man. Either way, they leave the factory stuffed full of fat, and then they travel to virtually every part of your body, every neighborhood of your body, every organ, every tissue, right down to every single cell. So again, all of the cells of your body are constantly uptaking thousands upon thousands of things from your bloodstream throughout the day and the night. And of course, they're also discharging waste products into the bloodstream. And so that membrane is taking a constant beating and is in a need of constant repair. So when the cell needs fats to repair damage to its membrane, it's going to activate a specialized receptor, just like the ones that bring in all of those different nutrients and oxygen and so forth. And that one is going to basically be like a little man standing out on the curb, and he's going to flag down the driver of that LDL delivery truck, and he's going to offload, take delivery of just enough of that LDL cholesterol to make the repairs that are currently needed on its membrane. So your liver produces more LDL cholesterol, those lipoprotein delivery trucks, than your body actually needs. So your liver also produces the HDL. And let's assume that the HDL is basically an empty box truck, like the delivery truck, except it's empty. And it's going to drive around all of the neighborhoods, and it's going to look for the unneeded, the unnecessary LDL lipoproteins that are floating around. And so it's going to collect them, and it's going to condense them, and it's going to put them inside its box truck until it's full, and then it will deliver that to the liver. Your liver will also unload other things in as well, but your liver is going to unload the HDL trucks, and it's going to process the LDL cholesterol into what is called bile fluids. So all of the things that the liver has unloaded, pulled out of the bloodstream, like waste products and the LDL cholesterol, toxins, anything that shouldn't be in the bloodstream, the liver will filter it out, and it'll pack it all together while it manufactures these bile fluids, which are normally stored in your gallbladder. So all of those waste products then are going to be secreted into your small intestine, just beyond the stomach, when you eat meats or something that needs the help of those bile fluids to break them down. So those bile fluids not only help break down food, but they also are intended to get rid of all of those waste products, including the LDL cholesterol. So if you haven't eaten enough fiber, the LDL cholesterol will not be taken out. When you do eat enough LDL fiber, the LDL is going to be captured. It's going to be encompassed in a gel that fiber forms, and it's going to carry it out of your intestines right along with the feces. But there again is where everything goes wrong. The majority of adults do not get enough fiber in their diet. In fact, most get less than half. So fiber, which again normally bundles up all those waste products from the liver, including that LDL cholesterol, will not be able to carry that out of the body because there isn't enough fiber in the diet. So again, if you don't eat enough of that fiber, those constituents are going to break down into their individual constituents, and they're going to be recycled right back into the bloodstream. They're going to be picked up by the capillary blood vessels, and they're going to be pumped right back into your bloodstream. And they're going to add to what's already there, of course, and it's just going to be a repeated process again and again and again. And that cholesterol can accumulate and increase in numbers. So the HDL is going to be overwhelmed. It's not going to be able to regulate the LDL levels. So how do you increase your fiber? Every male needs 35 grams of fiber a day. Every woman needs a minimum of 30 every day. But you should actually seek to get between 40 and 50 grams of fiber every single day. But it's very important that you know what it is you're buying when you buy fiber products. The psyllium husk is one of the most popular, and that's one of the most commonly sold. But you have to read the label, because most of them that are in stores or even pharmacies are just loaded with unhealthy additives like fillers, artificial flavoring, artificial coloring, and some of them even contain aspartame for a sweetener, which is horrible stuff. So pure psyllium husk powder can do what you need to get done. And you really don't need anything other than pure psyllium husk if that's how you're going to do it. You can buy it on the internet in bulk, much cheaper to get the cost down. However, there are better sources of fiber. Flaxseed and chia seeds, for example. Psyllium husk contains about 4 grams of fiber in 3 tablespoons, which is better than a lot of things, but it's not really as good as it could be. For the cost and so forth and all the effort, flaxseed and chia seeds each contain 3 grams of fiber per every single tablespoon. So if you were to do 4 tablespoons of each, you could easily produce 24 grams of fiber very, very quickly and very, very easily. Plus, chia seeds contain all 8 of the essential amino acids that your body can't manufacture and totally relies upon your diet for. So, increase your dietary fiber, both by dietary supplements like chia seeds and flax seeds, but eat more, a wider variety of vegetables, and you will increase your fiber as well. So you're going to need about 20 grams of fiber every single day. So the packages that you buy these in are going to tell you what the number of grams per serving will be. So eating too much food can cause your LDL cholesterol to rise. You can actually increase your cholesterol levels, your LDL cholesterol levels, just by eating too much food. And this is going to sound a little familiar, but it's because your liver and insulin are going to convert all of the excess glucose that's going to be produced by all that excess food that your body cannot possibly use. And so that excess glucose is going to be converted into triglycerides. And the process called fatty acid synthesis or de novo lipogenesis is going to take place. The excess glucose, remember, is the primary cause. That excess glucose is going to be converted into triglycerides, and it's going to be put into your bloodstream. And most of those triglycerides will be stored as fat, and the rest is going to be converted into LDL cholesterol and added to your bloodstream. So eating fat-free foods is no guarantee that you're not going to store and accumulate fat or cholesterol if you're eating too much of it. So most of us eat 3 times what our body actually needs to function and survive every single day. Much of it can end up as fat and cholesterol. Now you are going to learn that eating too many carbohydrates will increase your LDL cholesterol. You can increase your LDL cholesterol by eating too many carbohydrates because all carbs are converted into glucose. Here we go again. Your liver and insulin is going to convert all of the excess glucose into fat, just like we've described numerous times before here. And those are going to be converted into triglycerides, that process called de novo lipogenesis. And again, it's going to be converted into triglycerides, and some of it is going to be converted into LDL cholesterol. So if you eat too many high glycemic index carbohydrates, you may not have to eat too many carbohydrates. You may just eat too many high glycemic index carbohydrates. And that's things like sticky rice, short grain rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and wheat, because those are high glycemic index foods. wheat especially. So if you eat 1 gram of high glycemic index, it's going to produce twice as much glucose. So let's just take an example of that. First of all, if 1 slice of wheat bread is, on the average, has about 20 grams of glucose, of carbohydrates per slice, which means that it's going to produce 20 grams of glucose, which is going to enter your bloodstream. And those 20 grams of carbohydrates, which has now become 40 grams of glucose in the bloodstream, is each going to produce 20 grams, an increase of 20 points on your glucose meter. So let's look at that closely. That 1 slice of bread, 20 grams of carbohydrates, is going to increase your blood sugar 800 milligrams per deciliter on your meter. Now your body tries to maintain between 80 and 100 in order to prevent damage. Just how much of that 800 milligrams per deciliter do you think your cells are going to be able to store? And now let's make a sandwich. We're going to increase that to 1600 milligrams per deciliter. So that 2 slices of bread with absolutely nothing on it can massively overload your bloodstream with glucose. And guess where that's going to go? Triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. Insulin resistance can also increase your LDL cholesterol. Insulin resistance, if you haven't seen the other videos, it's when your body's cells, when the receptor for the insulin cannot properly function. And what it's caused by is the excess fat around the center causes fatty liver. And fat will actually pack around the liver. And the liver, when it becomes fatty liver, will now no longer properly manage how your cells manage glucose. And so it will cause insulin resistance. That means that those transporters that would normally uptake the insulin and bring it through the membrane and then trigger that gate to allow the glucose to enter, they're not going to work. And so consequently, the glucose is going to build up in the bloodstream. And that is going to become even more glucose, even more than what you ate in those 2 slices of bread. So, guess again, the liver and the insulin are going to convert all of that excess glucose into triglycerides and place them into the bloodstream. And then again, some of that, a lot of it's going to be fat, but some of it's going to become LDL cholesterol. Eating too much fruit will increase your LDL cholesterol. And that one I'm sure is going to be a real surprise for you. Fruit contains fructose. It's one of 3 forms of sugar that are found in fruit. Fructose by itself will not spike your blood sugar. In fact, your cells cannot use it for fuel. It's useless for all of your cells to use when it comes to fuel. It can't convert it into glycogen, which is what is used to burn the fuel. But your liver can. In fact, your liver loves it. And so your liver is going to pull in massive amounts of this fructose, and that fructose is going to be converted first into glycogen in the liver, because the liver can convert it, and then it can convert it back into glucose. But if you eat too much fruit, you're going to totally overwhelm your liver, and guess what it's going to do? It's going to convert all of that excess fructose into triglycerides, and it's going to put it into the bloodstream. And you know the rest of that story. You only need to eat 50 grams or so of fructose in a given day to overwhelm your liver. So there's another thing that you need to be aware of. Agave nectar. It's a very popular sugar substitute. It's a liquid. It contains 92% fructose and 8% glucose. That is a very, very bad combination. So you should totally eliminate agave nectar from your diet unless you're going to use very, very small amounts of it. So how you cook your food can increase your LDL cholesterol. When you cook your food, every degree of increase of heat over 120 degrees Fahrenheit causes a breakdown of the food structure and its nutritional value. It destroys the enzymes that would normally help you digest it, and it breaks down the nutrients of it. But it's that structure that is of most importance here, because not only do you lose the vitamins and minerals, but your body's antigens no longer are going to recognize that food as normal, natural, organic. Antigens, every cell in your body has little antennas, which are called antigens, and they wave out there into that bloodstream, and they look for things that shouldn't be there. And because this food went under such extreme cooking temperatures, which doesn't really have to be all that high, every degree over 120 starts to change it. That change in structure renders that as not being recognized by your antigens as being normal or natural. So they're going to bring in your immune system, and they're going to start to attack all of that, and inflammation will be initiated. And it can cause rapid weight gain, which causes insulin resistance. Remember that fat around the middle packs around the liver and causes insulin resistance. So totally, it can cause more glucose to be converted into triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. So overcooked food, processed foods because of the chemicals that are in it, they cause that immune system to be bombarded with incompatible substances and structures, and your immune system is going to become stuck in the state of war condition. Once oxidized, they're going to become very sticky. They're going to bond readily to the walls of your arteries. So temperatures above 300 degrees Fahrenheit are going to cause saturated fats to be converted into billions of LDL cholesterol particles. And you remember those. So inflammation causes a rapid increase in fat stored in your central area. The excess belly fat is going to cause fatty liver, which will malfunction and cause insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is going to lead to elevated blood sugar, massive amounts of excess glucose, excess amounts of insulin, and the same story all over again. So consuming alcohol can increase your LDL cholesterol. Alcohol will cause your liver to overproduce those LDL cholesterol particles and put them into the bloodstream. Beer, which is cholesterol-free, contains high amounts of carbohydrates, and alcohol, which can both increase your triglyceride levels. Alcohol, like whiskey, vodka, gin, and others, also are cholesterol-free, but they are very high in sugar, and you know where that's going to lead. Your body, your liver, has very limited capacity for processing alcohol, so other issues will result. Alcohol contributes to the formation of fatty liver, which causes insulin resistance, which leads to elevated blood glucose levels and ultimately triglyceride production and increased LDL cholesterol. Alcohol causes the production of toxic enzyme, which damage your liver cell. It also causes moderate dehydration and impairs your liver-brain function. So it should now be evident that it will not be all that difficult to reduce some of your LDL cholesterol just by empowering yourself by applying these simple facts to get their cholesterol medications down, just by reducing the amount of LDL cholesterol that's produced in your body every day. You should always, though, work with your doctor whenever you're changing or eliminating any medications. So part 5 is going to summarize all this. We're going to apply all of this into your daily routine in the form of a challenge, and you can clean the plaque out of your arteries. Thank you, and please share this with your friends and family.